At police headquarters, Magyar examines 3 distinct pieces of evidence recovered from 3 murder victims, clothing items sharing the same color and design. Magyar calls Shiratori, inquiring about his theories regarding the items found near the victims. Shiratori proposes a hypothesis that each remaining Genjibutaro member took a memento from the deceased Yoshitsune or Benkei. Their conversation is halted by Kogoro's announcement, summoning everyone to the temple with a claim to have solved the case. As the suspects and police gather at the temple, Conan anticipates Kogoro's inaccurate conclusion. Kogoro, confidently but falsely, accuses Chikasuzu of the murder. According to him, she is Yoshitsune's daughter seeking revenge for her father, who was betrayed by his comrades and died 3 months ago. Ayano Koji, portrayed as Benkei, is implicated as her accomplice. Kogoro details how Chikasuzu used the short sword, concealed within the chipmunk, to kill Sakura during a fake restroom break. After the murder, she allegedly tied the sword to the chipmunk, releasing it through the basement window. The chipmunk then swam downstream in the Misogi, where Ayano Koji retrieved it before attempting to kill Heiji. Kogoro concludes his elaborate theory by triumphantly asking the accused if they practice archery. Ayano Koji denies any involvement in archery, but Kogoro insists there is evidence pointing to Chikasuzu being an archer due to a thumb injury common among archers. Chikasuzu vehemently defends herself, emphasizing her recent initiation into archery and dismissing it as proof. Tae supports her ward, highlighting Chikasuzu's dedication to her profession as a dancer, leaving no time for murderous thoughts. Conan questions Kogoro's belief that a chipmunk could carry a short sword, prompting a failed attempt by Kogoro to demonstrate. Observing this spectacle, Heiji quietly inquires if Conan is certain about the real killer. Conan affirms his certainty, attributing the final answer to archery. However, lacking concrete evidence and the missing statue, the case remains unresolved. Genta, Ayumi, and Mitsuhiko play with the chipmunk, with Genta expressing a desire to feed it an acorn. Accidentally, acorns fall from his pocket into the fountain, prompting Ayumi to draw parallels to the children's song Dong Yuri Koro Koro, where acorns fall into a puddle. Conan suddenly grasps the significance of the map, realizing it can be deciphered using the Temari song. Exhaustion catches up with Heiji, prompting them to take a break at Rokkaku Shrine. During this respite, Conan shares his theory that Heiji had visited Sado Temple 8 years ago, deducing it from Heiji's description of cherry trees and the similarity of windows to those in Heiji's memories. Conan reveals that the crystal ball Heiji picked up that day wasn't from the girl he saw but from the missing Buddha statue, implying Heiji must have been at Sano Temple approximately a day after Genjibutaru's theft. As the thieves carried the statue away, the crystal dislodged and fell out. Yoshitsune, noticing this, dispatched a henchman to retrieve it. When the robber was about to retrieve the ball, he spotted Heiji standing next to the cherry tree and taking the crystal with him. Yoshitsune concealed the statue, and months ago, his henchman recognized Heiji in an interview about Kyoto. Simultaneously, Yoshitsune fell seriously ill but guarded the statue's location until his death. On his deathbed, he distributed 7 copies of the riddle to his associates, instructing them that whoever unraveled the puzzle would become the worthy new leader of their gang. Following Yoshitsune's demise, the remaining gang members struggled to unravel the riddle he left behind. Faced with the inability to solve it, Sakura opted to join forces with a fellow gang member, an adept swordsman. Their plan involved deciphering the riddle together, selling the statue on the black market, and sharing the proceeds. However, the murderer had concealed his true intentions, agreeing to Sakura's proposal while secretly eliminating their remaining rivals one by one and seizing the statue for himself. Despite these ruthless actions, the murderer remained clueless about deciphering Yoshitsune's riddle, prompting him to enlist Kogoro's help. Heiji receives a call from the last surviving Genjibutaro member, revealing that he has kidnapped Kazuha. The kidnapper demands a meeting with Heiji at Jewel Dragon Temple on Karama Hill within an hour and warns against involving the police. Overwhelmed by exhaustion, Heiji suddenly collapses. Concerned about Conan and Heiji's disappearance, Ran questions Enkai and learns about their discussion regarding Bukko Temple. Deciding to search for them, she stops by Bukko Temple and notices the sign pointing to the former Gyokuryu Temple. Inquiring with a passerby, she discovers that the abandoned temple deep in Kurama Mountain is Gyokuryu Temple. As night falls, the murderer positions Kazuha outdoors, surrounded by his henchmen, awaiting Heiji's arrival. Inside the temple, Heiji presents the crystal to everyone and begins unraveling the intricacies of the case. He elucidates why the murderer selected Tei's tea house as the crime scene. Its location on the banks of the Misogi River offered strategic advantages. The perpetrator seized Sakura's riddle copy, exploiting a security company's terminal to trace missing items and individuals. The weapon, concealed in a plastic bottle with a GPS receiver, was tossed into the river and later retrieved by the murderer using the terminal. Subsequently, the assailant ambushed Heiji during his motorcycle journey home, wielding the short sword. When Kazuha intervened, the murderer intentionally dropped the sword, creating the illusion of an escape from the tea house with the weapon. Heiji exposes the killer's identity as Taiga Seijo, recognized as Musashibo Benkei by the Genjibatara gang members and their second-in-command. Heiji's initial suspicions arose when Seijo attempted to conceal his archery skills. Observing Seijo's seated posture at Shuntaro's house, mirroring Chikasuzu's, Heiji noticed a subtle half-step backward with his right foot, a characteristic archer's habit. During archery discussions, Seijo cryptically uttered Yamakura, not referring to Tei Yamakura, but rather the archer's thumb spot known as Yanomakura or arrow pillow, prone to injuries. Seijo strategically sowed suspicion on Chikasuzu with this subtle revelation. Seijo, begrudgingly admitting Heiji's deductions, lays bare his motivations. He divulges that he stumbled upon the ancient Yushitsun style of fighting while practicing kendo with Ryuan. Driven by an intense desire to be recognized as Yushitsun's successor, Seijo devoted 2 years to self-training until he believed he had mastered the technique. Consumed by his obsession, he harbored resentment towards his former boss, who had adopted the Yushitsun name. Seijo envisioned transforming Gyokuryu Temple into a dojo to propagate the Yushitsun style and sought funds for this endeavor. His involvement in the Sano Temple robbery was fueled by the aspiration to finance his dojo with the proceeds from the stolen statue. With Yushitsun's demise 3 months prior, Seijo lost his cherished training ground, prompting his decision to eliminate the remaining gang members. Heiji continues his deductions, revealing Seijo's use of Ryuan as an intermediary to contact Kogoro. Seijo orchestrated Sakura's murder upon finding a buyer for the stolen statue. In an unexpected twist, Heiji, with a smirk, discloses that the statue has been concealed in Gyokuryu Temple all along, a fact Seijo failed to perceive amidst the details. Frustrated, Seijo reluctantly permits Kazuha to leave upon her halfway journey to Heiji, only to command his 8-masked henchmen to attack her. Seijo lunges at Heiji with his sword, but Kazuha begins to suspect something amiss when Heiji fails to exhibit his usual adeptness in defending against the attacks. She pieces together the truth: the person before her is not Heiji, but Shinichi, disguised as Heiji. Simultaneously, at the hospital, Hybrid discloses to Agasa the details of Conan's request regarding Return Bridge. Conan had asked for a way to temporarily return to his original body, stating it was crucial to save Heiji. Hybrid, recalling the previous success with Paikal, devised a plan. Although the antidote prototype for APTX 4869 was no longer effective, she believed that inducing cold symptoms with a pill and subsequently administering Paikal would trigger Conan's transformation back into Shinichi. As they attempt to check on Heiji, they discover his escape from the hospital through the window. Cornered by Seijo and his henchmen, Shinichi and Kazuha find themselves in a precarious situation. Feeling the effects of the temporary antidote wearing off, Shinichi faces imminent reversion. Unexpectedly, one of Seijo's men halts the attack, revealing himself as the real Heiji. He advises Shinichi to flee before the transformation, and as Heiji transforms back into Conan, Shinichi sprints into the forest. Heiji instructs Kazuha to keep silent about seeing Shinichi before he confronts Seijo and his henchmen. Their wooden sword breaks, prompting their retreat to the temple. Ran races through the forest towards the temple, encountering 3 of Seijo's men. Shinichi, seizing the moment, grabs her wrist and urges her to remain quiet. Amidst the moonlight, Shinichi compliments Ran's beauty, then stuns her with his watch, cradling her in his arms as he undergoes the transformation back into Conan. In the temple, Kazuha and Heiji search for a weapon. Kazuha recognizes the room as the one where she was previously held captive. She recalls overhearing the henchman mention a sword concealed in Benkei's drawer. Examining the cabinet, Kazuha relates the lines and locations of the drawers to the roads of Kyoto, using the Temari song to guide them in locating the hidden sword. Heiji swiftly opens the drawer, but Seijo bursts into the room, launching an attack with his sword. Heiji skillfully blocks the strikes and identifies Seijo's weapon as a Muramasa, or demon katana. Grasping Kazuha's wrist, they dash out of the room, separating to evade Seijo's men. While the henchmen pursue Kazuha, Heiji engages in a fierce confrontation with Seijo. Conan arrives at the temple, strategically hurling wooden sticks at the henchmen's masks, incapacitating them. He ignites one stick with a match and tosses it onto a massive woodpile near a temple wall, causing a blazing fire. Conan hopes the flames will attract the attention of police officers or onlookers, drawing assistance to the temple. Meanwhile, Kogoro, accompanied by a group of police officers, discovers Ran and rouses her. Observing the fire, they hasten towards the temple. Heiji and Seijo persist in their duel on the temple roof. Seijo gains the advantage, deftly blocking Heiji's strikes with his arm guard. Drawing a poisoned short sword, Seijo corners Heiji, pushing him perilously close to the roof's edge. Heiji manages to prevent himself from falling and notices Seijo's henchmen, armed with drawn bows, poised to shoot if he descends. Seizing the opportunity, Conan tosses his watch upward, aiming for a distracting flash of light. As Seijo is momentarily diverted, Conan ascends the walls, utilizing arrows lodged in the structure. Taking a daring leap, he retrieves a football from his belt and targets Seijo's wakizashi sword. Seijo falters, and Heiji delivers a forceful blow to his stomach with the blunt edge of the sword. Breaking Seijo's weapon, Heiji prevents him from plummeting off the roof, admonishing him that if he were Benkei, Yoshitsune would have been killed at Attica. Ran, Kogoro, and Shiratori rush in, assisting in the arrest of Seijo's henchmen. Ayano Koji directs his officers to escort the captured men to the nearest police station, placing the temple under police custody. As they descend, Heiji quietly questions Conan about discerning the statue's hiding place. With a grin, Conan affirms that he has. In the aftermath, Ran wonders if her encounter with Shinichi was merely a dream. The next morning, Ran, Conan, Sonoko, and Kogoro bid farewell to the monks at Sano Temple. Kogoro expresses his apologies for not locating the statue. Enkai and Ryuan return to the main building, contemplating what to exhibit now that the statue is still missing. To their astonishment, the Buddha has returned, adorned with Heiji's hat. Enkai remarks, "They're really Yoshitsune and Benkei returned, those two," leaving Ryuan puzzled about his reference. At Kyoto Central, the detective boys play with Ayano Koji's chipmunk. Ayumi reflects on the chipmunk being the inspector's best friend and questions if it's because he lacks human friends. The inspector, unsure how to respond, remains silent. Kogoro apologizes to Chikasuzu and Ayano Koji for wrongly accusing them of the murder, and they graciously accept his apology. Chikasuzu reveals that she already knew her father's identity and had requested him to cease sending money, as she could now support herself financially. When pressed to disclose her father's identity, she bows and smiles, teasingly stating, "It's a secret." The resemblance of her expression to Enkai's prompts the police officers to recognize the old monk as her father. Kazuha sings the Temari song, and Heiji questions why she is singing it wrong. Kazuha recounts learning the song from her aunt and uncle in Kyoto during a visit when she and Heiji were 8 years old. While her aunt assisted Kazuha with dressing in a kimono, styling her hair, and applying makeup, Heiji grew impatient and proceeded to Sano Temple ahead of her. Unable to find him, Kazuha waited for Heiji to locate her, playing with the ball and singing to herself. Heiji finally realizes that Kazuha was his first love all along but decides to keep that revelation to himself. Ran observes them with a hint of sadness, and Conan senses the need to lift her spirits. He engages in a playful act with a soda can, accidentally drenching himself in soda. While Ran wipes his face, she notices makeup on her handkerchief and realizes that it wasn't just a dream. Conan clarifies, Shinichi said hi, he had to run off, but he wanted to disguise himself as Heiji so he could help save Kazuha. A warm smile appears on Ran's face. After the credits, during the train journey back, Conan takes a nap. Sonoko expresses her admiration for Ran's patience in waiting for Shinichi, admitting that she couldn't endure such a long separation from Makoto. Ran responds nonchalantly, sharing the story of the date when Shinichi was 2 hours late. She realized, back then, the longer you wait for someone, when you do meet them after all, you'll be even happier. As the video concludes, the narrator expresses gratitude for watching until the end and encourages viewers to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on upcoming videos. See you later.